That's weird. That's weird. Kind of weirding me out.
You are a sad, strange little man.
Crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Isn't that weird?
That's weird, man.
It's strange.
Welcome back, campers. It is me, Alex Tobin, your camp counselor, and I am with
Dingle McGringleberry.
Hingle McCringleberry.
Maybe I'm doing my own thing.
A.K.A. David Stokes.
What's up?
Stokes.
I just realized I got a question for you.
What? You just realized you had a question for me?
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Camp Strange, first off, and then I guess just give me your question.
Well, so I mean, what episode are we on now? Who knows?
Yeah,
we're out here. What? I don't know what all the sound bites are in our intro. I know there's Toy Story. I know there's Doctor Strange, but I was thinking, I don't know what any of these are actually from.
Because I made that. Okay. The first one is Michael Scott being like, "That's weird. You're weirding me out. That's so weird."
What part is that from?
It's Jim goes in and says something to him. I can't remember off the top of my head, but okay. Jim says something to him, and he goes, "That's he's clearly caught," and he's like, "That's weird." Oh man, that's weirding me out right now. And I always
could it be maybe one where he's being cheap or something, and he's kind of bringing it to his attention, wait a second, this doesn't really add up, and he's like, oh, that's weird. I
think it's something about Michael did something and he did something bad and I'm creaking over here. He did something bad and I don't know, fuck it. I'm a big Office fan, and I cannot remember off the top of my head what he did. He's
getting all flustered over here. You can't think of it because he's the biggest Office fan.
I know. I did know it for a while, and now I just kind of blanked it out. But obviously Doctor Strange is in it.
Yeah. Toy Story,
Buzz Lightyear, and then one of them when he's like, "This is crazy. That's Steve from Stranger Things.
Okay.
I think that's when shit starts going weird in
sure.
First season. And then another one is the fat guy from 21 Jump Street where they ride up on the bikes.
Jonah Hill?
No. The fat guy with the beard, it's they're in the park and they're chasing
the motorcycle guy.
Yeah, and he's and he says something, he's like, "That's weird, man," or something like that. He's like, "Was that weird?" He's like, "That's weird."
Oh, I think it's when he says he's gonna beat his dick off.
Yeah, something like that. And then
such a good movie.
Yeah, and then then the other one is Goldmember. Isn't that weird?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
for me, the Austin Power movies was one was enough. I don't need to.
Oh,
watch.
I loved them all. They're so good.
No. I mean one watch, and I'm I don't need to watch that movie again. You need to stop moving in that seat.
I'm trying to fix this, and it's not.
I make you sit on that microwave that you have in your living room for some reason.
There we go.
And we're settled.
Don't talk about my microwave in my living room. There's not enough counter space, and it's just storing there. Kyle plugged it in. It is a big microwave. It looks weird plugged in. If it wasn't plugged in,
that's one thing that I don't like. I'm very prideful of the fact that as long as I've lived in LA, I haven't owned a microwave, and I'm very prideful of that for no apparent reason.
Well, we didn't own a microwave for 2 years, and then
it just leads to bad and unhealthy eating habits.
Well, then I got really sick for that week. Remember?
So you're I need some nuclear power in me.
No, I was okay. So I got shingles, which is a weird disease to get. I guess
who else would get it?
I'll explain what shingles is really quick. Basically, actually, shingles is the reason that this podcast started up. I have to say, so shingles is basically like chicken pox, except. Basically, when you get chickenpox is a virus, and when you get it in your body, the virus always lays dormant in your system, even when it's gone. It's kind of like if you get a wart on your hand or something like that. The wart virus stays in your system the entire time, and then it can come back and go away. So I got chickenpox when I was really young, and then a thing they always say you can't get chickenpox twice.
Yeah, I've never had it.
Yeah, but the thing is. There's another disease attached to that virus that's a joint thing, and it's shingles. And you only get shingles if you've had chicken pox before.
Why can't they just call it turkey pox or something? You
would think it would call that, but it's basically if you get really stressed out or you have a really low immune system. So I think I had both at the time, and I was like, man, it really hurts, and it basically you just get these kind of blotchy, kind of chicken pox looking things, and it attacks your nervous system, so you get sharp shooting pains to different parts of your body, and mine was in my ear, and it hurt like a son of a bitch. But you only get it on one side of your body. Isn't that weird?
That's interesting.
It only affects one side of your body, and the reason that this podcast started because of that is because I was home for 10 days because it's It's highly contagious if you have not had chicken pox.
Okay.
If you had
Yeah.
chicken pox and I go up to you and I touch you with or whatever, you won't get shingles.
Which is great that I came over to record our episode because I've never had chicken pox.
Yeah. Well, that was but you're fine. I
don't get sick as I have like a cold
I
right
wasn't-
now, but yeah, no, I never get sick.
I wasn't you're only in like infectious for like 3 days or whatever.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was totally fine. But it's such a weird thing. I basically just took a bunch of pain pills.
Oh, you got stir crazy as fuck because I remember we're like, oh yeah, this might be an idea. We can do like a podcast, and before we even like record an episode, we had like a store. We had like
I built a website. I built a store. I built a logo. I made the theme song. I did the trailer.
You bought art. You
bought-
commissioned art. I remember he goes, oh, like I'm thinking about like this artist and this artist. Like I think about doing. I'm like, hey, maybe we should just like record an episode before we commission art. And you're like, yeah, no, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. And then like not even like 7 hours later, like, so this is the art I commissioned, and you need to Venmo me money because I paid for it. Fucking asshole.
Well,
I mean, the art did turn out great, so I'm not complaining. But it was.
I should have ran that by at least the other person involved in this venture.
You kind of ran it by me, and I said something you didn't want to hear, and so you just decided to do what you wanted to do.
Yeah, because you got to get the ball rolling, you know. But overall, I'm. It's weird to say, but I'm glad I got shingles, and
I hope you get them again.
It sucked. It really sucked at the time, but
who knows what will come out of the next round?
You know what sucks? Every time I said I had shingles, like all my buddies back home, and I think you guys were like, at least my buddies back home, they're just like, oh, you have scabies. And I was like, no, I don't have scabies. And they're like,
is it scabies or scabies? Yeah,
scabies are like bugs or something. And I was like, no, I don't.
Are they?
Yeah, I think they're like.
No. I thought scabies was like when you don't have enough, like, it's like a deficiency of something. Oh, okay, that's what I was thinking. You're saying
scurvy is when you don't have enough,
like citrus or some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you get rid of it.
Pirates get it, you know.
Yeah, pirates still get it to this day.
Yeah, scabies are it's a burrowing mite in your skin. That's so fucking disgusting. I'm sorry if you've had scabies before, but
is that like ringworm?
So no, they're like, oh, I don't know, man. But they basically told everybody that I had scabies, and then that morphed into I had scarabs. You're like
you're like that little fat guy in the Mummy when he gets overran by that wave of scarabs and they're going through his skin.
Exactly. So like,
man, that's a great part of the
movie. So my buddies would call me up and be like, "Hey, here you have scarabs." And like they're just kind of fucking with me. But
have you been to Egypt lately?
No,
ancient Egypt, no.
But so that was the lore behind the starting of this podcast. So when you get really stir crazy and you have nothing to do and you can't talk to people,
well, just think
start
about it,
podcasts.
The if you ever get the old roofing tiles, you might start something good.
Yeah. So there's always a silver lining, you know.
It could always be worse.
Yeah. I mean, let's just say this. I almost said scabies sucked. Shingles did suck. It sucked really bad. Like, I just basically was on Tylenol. I took like 6 Tylenol a day, or Advil, and you had to wait it out.
It was hard, man. I had to pretend like I cared, and it sucked.
So nice of you. But, yeah. Okay, now you're moving stuff, okay?
Yeah, I am.
So
we just really jumped on in.
So I'm glad I got sick that time. So I was reading on the Huffington Post, like, weird news that...
Is that where you get your weird news?
No, well, I just Googled weird news.
The Huffington Paint news?
So apparently this guy from Florida...
It's always Florida.
It's always Floridians, even when they're not in Florida. So this guy from Florida...
Floridians? Is that really what it is?
I'm guessing. Well, fluorides...
Isn't that what gives you
fluorides are in the water. That's
Floridians.
Floridians.
Yeah, Floridians.
Floridians, is it?
Yeah, I think it's Floridians.
It's something close to that.
Clitorians?
It's not that. George Lucas is like, sneak that in there. They'll never catch it.
Never catch it.
Oh, midichlorians.
Midichlorians, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And then what is clitor?
Stop, man. Okay, so this guy in Florida, he went to Switzerland, and he thought it'd be a good idea to hang glide because Switzerland's beautiful. And
could he find his Mountain Dew in Switzerland?
What does that mean? Oh, Oh, don't talk down to Floridians.
I know, I'm joking. I've
Floridians
met
or
good people from
midichlorians.
Florida, but for whatever reason, all the weird news stories come from there.
But this guy, Chris Gursky, he went and he was like, I'm just going to hang glide. I think it'd be fun. He went with his wife. And while he was hooking up to the hang glider, they thought, okay, let's start taking off. And they took off and started flying off the mountain. And then he realized he was not hooked in. The guy, because he was flying on the back of another guy. They always like a skydiver.
Okay.
Unless you're like an experienced skydiver and an experienced hang glider, you go with somebody attached to you.
I did not know that.
So
Do you do that like
you have to get a certain number of hours before you can go solo.
do you stack on like a flapjack, or do you sit next to each other?
You're kind of like flapjacking it, where like
Okay.
the guy's in front and you're kind of like on his back, or maybe like a little bit to the side.
Sign me up.
And this guy did not lock Chris in, and for
Okay, well, hold on. Another timeout. He did not connect him to his guide or the shuttle.
it looks like he's
Shuttle?
wearing. He's probably supposed to be connected to both. I'm guessing the shuttle over the guy, just in case the guy falls out. But he was probably connected to both, but he was not connected to either, and it was the guy flying its fault. And because he looks like he's wearing the harness, he's just not hooked up. I think he just didn't hook like the carabiner or whatever you hook onto the.
I mean, that's an
thing.
easy part to forget.
So for 2 minutes and 14 seconds, he hung in the air. Oh, sorry, creek share. He hung in the air because they couldn't find another safe spot to land. So for 2 minutes and 14 seconds, he was hanging off, one hand on the hang glider and the other one grabbing the guy's pant leg, just dangling there.
I could do that.
Like hundreds of feet in the air. And when he got close to the ground, though, after 2 minutes and 14 seconds, he dropped from, I don't know, it looked like probably like 10 feet up.
Are you watching a video?
Oh, there is a video,
okay.
but no, I'm not watching the video. I've seen the video.
Okay.
And he dropped from like 10, 12 feet, and he broke his wrist and tore some bicep tendons and stuff. But
I mean, you got to at that point because
he
if you don't,
tore the bicep tendons from hanging in the air.
oh, for sure. But if you don't walk away with an injury, it's going to be a little harder to get that lawsuit money. So
Yeah, he said he's not even mad at the guy. He's like the guy. He's
I
like,
understand.
He said the pilot made a critical error, but he's not like, he's like, they're like, are you mad? And he's like, I'm past that phase.
Well, he's
Like,
probably just happy to be alive.
he said he did all he can do and more, and he's a good guy. So like, he's just a good guy who forgets to hook people into harnesses. That
As much as I want to slam dunk on that guy, that's the same fucking thing I would do. I would feel I don't know if like I could ever honestly just be like, oh, someone like did something wrong, like I'm gonna sue the shit out of you. Like I feel like I just get over things way too easily.
you would feel that anger and resentment as you fell to the ground, I think. But since you're alive,
I think
you
I'd be
don't
too.
have
I
it.
think I'd be too concentrate on like, surviving it, living through it.
Especially if it's a big company, like a big hang gliding company, I would
Yeah.
sue the company.
Yeah. Not the guy.
Because that guy's getting fired regardless. Like, they're not going to let him do that again. But if it's like a guy's,
should start a
if it's a
podcast.
guy's single, like sole proprietary thing,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go after him and be like, I'm going to
Yeah.
ruin your life and take all your, like, hey man, I got a good story out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, but I would make them pay for my hospital bills for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's one thing I wouldn't do.
Yeah,
but,
no, for sure.
but he survived, and he says he wants to do it again.
I think the more impressive thing from my the way I'm looking at it is so like if he's a pancake on top of him, flapjack, he's not strapped in. Like I guess I'm confused on how that works. That like
They don't-
because you don't start from
They're not
a pancake.
They're not Supermaning. They're hanging from like here. I'll show you this picture really quick. That's what it looks like. They're like hanging on like in these harnesses.
Okay, I don't think they're flapjacking then. I think they were next to each other.
Well, either
Because if they're flapjacking, they're like you can't really
yeah,
start.
probably next to each other then.
And so then
I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't
You
matter
gotta know
because
immediately.
even if you're laying on top of the guy, like your body starts to go upright. You're not on like a flat surface. Like you start to come up and you're gonna fall. Like
well, all I was just trying to say was like I find it impressive that he was able to react and like realize like, oh fuck, I'm not strapped in. I need to grab onto something right now. I wonder if it was like he grabbed his leg and swung and then grabbed the bar. Like,
Oh no, I saw the video. He gets off the ground and he slowly starts like kind of fall off the guy, and like he's grabbing onto the pole like anybody would do. Like even if you're on like a roller coaster, you're still grabbing onto the harnesses. You're like just in case, and that just in case actually happened.
my hands are up the whole time.
And he slowly like started falling down and down and down, and like,
Okay.
but he was like, I think he was grabbing different stuff, and he kept moving his hands around. But like, damn.
I don't know. I feel like if I was in that position, I would have checked those. I would check those carabiners.
You trust them. You know what I mean?
I don't trust anyone.
You don't know what you're looking at for mechanisms. You go, okay, this guy obviously, like, I'm flying with him.
I couldn't imagine it's too different from like rock climbing gear.
It's probably way different from rock climbing gear.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a hang glider. That's not the same thing at all.
Oh wait, we're talking about hang gliding, not rock climbing.
Shut the fuck up. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe the straps and stuff, but overall, I don't know, man. That sucks.
Moral
But
of
it's
the
cool.
story, don't go hang
He's
gliding.
alive. He's alive, and he's going back to Florida. So
Yeah,
okay, I think that's all the news I had for you.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me, man. You
Alright.
want to do a double backflip dive into the pool?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to jump into my story first.
Yep.
Okay. So today I'm going to be telling you about. Are you familiar with the Ottoman Empire?
Oh, like Transformers?
Those are Autobots.
Oh.
So the Ottoman Empire was a dynasty that ruled over modern Turkey, the Balkans, and most of North Africa and the Middle East from 1299 to 1923.
Sounds like a good price for a nice meal. $12.99.
Fucking idiot. So, I think many people understand that the Ottoman Empire was one of the biggest empires to, maybe the only one that, I can't think of the word to surpass that is Julius Caesar, the Roman Empire, when he was in his heyday.
Yeah.
I mean-
You know, Julius Caesar was Jesus.
Okay, that's controversial.
My mom went on like a good 2-year tangent about how that was. She read a book and she was convinced.
There's a lot of books out there with a lot of theories.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm not one to knock them, but it doesn't seem very. So today I'm going to be talking about not just the Ottoman Empire, but their execution methods, because they were known as a very, very violent empire. Like they
like to crack people open like a coconut.
Exactly.
And drink the milk.
So the Ottomans were never known for their mercy throughout history. In a place called Topkapi Palace. Topkapi. That's where the sultans resided. The sultans were like, the highest royalty and stuff like that. They ruled over. They would reside at Topkapi, and as you walked up, you could see spikes where there were severed heads of the recently executed criminals lining the walkway.
Like, I feel like you can say that over and over again and be like, yeah, this was a thing. But you actually have to, really think about, how insane that actually, just take a minute to think, they would just put people's heads on spikes.
It's such a power move. I mean, Vlad the Impaler was very known for that. He would just do your whole body shish kebab you, but he'd also do the heads and stuff like that.
That's just so insane.
And it's just a power move to be like, this is who you're messing with. I kill people and I make an example out of them.
Desecrate your body.
So
put on display.
But the focal point wasn't actually the heads of the criminals on the sides of the walkways. The focal point was a pair of example stones, quote unquote example stones, positioned directly outside the central gate. These stones were actually marble pillars on which they placed the severed heads of notables that had somehow offended the Sultan, and they were stuffed with cotton if they had been a high official, or straw if they had been a lesser man.
And they can double as a dog toy.
Yeah, I mean, or a lazy boy at this point. If you have the cotton lazy boy, lazy head.
Okay.
So it's just so weird that the people who are just they were known in the community.
They're stuffing the heads with cotton and
yeah, it's kind of
that. Did they take the skull out? I feel like there's not a lot of breathing room.
I think that it was more of at the where the neck wound is open. You know what I mean? Like they put cotton up in there so it stopped bleeding as much. Or
that makes sense.
Or it's kind of like a. They could also use kitty litter if they had it, because that is very absorbent.
Rice?
So, yeah, rice. Rice is good, too. Mm-hmm. So, I think it was just more of a what they had at the moment.
Yeah,
so whoa.
Sometimes you got to work with what you got.
Yeah, so that was on the marble column. Also, as a reminder of the sporadic mass executions ordered by the sultans, there were occasional piles at the central gate as well of severed noses, ears, and tongues. So he was just really trying to be like,
no
hey,
eyeballs?
I kill people.
Yeah, but no eyeballs?
Eyeballs are harder to get out.
No genitalia?
I think eyeballs are harder to get out, and I don't know about the genitalia.
I feel like fingers would be a good one, too, because most of us got 10 of them.
Then just put the whole fucking body outside.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're going to be piling up ears, noses, and tongues, like...
Maybe he was trying to feed the wildlife in the area.
It's possible, but I'm just saying, if I'm going to be making human pile body parts, like, I would use fingers, because that's tied with toes for the most body parts people
Well, good
get.
thing you aren't in the Ottoman Empire, because they would have killed you in 2 seconds, because you just went against the Sultan.
It sounds like I would be running.
He's all
shit.
tongues, he's all ears, he's all noses. But the thing is, like, when they find a body in the wilderness, usually the nose, the tongue, and the eyes are all gone, because that's the softest parts that the animals can eat and
the
whatnot.
cartridge.
Yeah. What the fuck are you talking about? The cartridge?
Not cartridge. The cartilage.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, their bodies, not jewels, man.
Sounds like I need to trim my tongue up.
So I'm about to fucking cut your tongue out. So capital punishment was so common in the Ottoman Empire that there was actually a fountain of execution in the first court, where the chief executioner and his assistant went to wash their hands after decapitating their victims. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
I mean, just to have a fountain, be like, wash your hands in the execution fountain. But the fountain was the most feared symbol of the arbitrary power of life and death of the sultans over their subjects, and was hated and feared accordingly. It was used with particular frequency during the reign of Selim the Grim, who in a reign of 8 short years went through 7 chief ministers and ordered 30,000 executions. So that guy was just like...
So you said in 8 years he went through 7 people at that position?
He went through 7 of his right-hand men, basically. And
in 8 years?
In 8 years.
So that's, basically 1 per year.
Yeah.
When you're at that, 5, 6, and 7, how are you going for that job?
Just don't take the job.
Why are you like, you know what? I'm going to be the one that makes the difference. Especially by, the 7th one,
Well, he probably it's the same thing as when you go and talk to somebody, you're like, oh man, they suck. Don't they suck? And you're like, yeah, they suck. You want to be friends because that person sucks. It's like a mutual hatred. We both hate this guy that we just
Wait,
killed.
was he killing him? After?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Just
He
making
was-
sure.
When he executed him.
Someone's like, you know what?
I mean, he got that name for a reason. Selim the Grim.
They're like, next year is probably not going to be my year anyways, so.
Yeah, and I don't even know how you have enough anger.
Applicants?
Anger and be like three. I mean, 30,000 is not that much, I guess. But I mean, just to think about what did these people do to deserve that? Is he just you're just pissing me off?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it. So beheading was the most popular form of execution for any lower class citizen, but for sultans and higher ranking officials, they believed that bloodshed was an insult and would instead find an alternative via strangling.
That's fine.
Except for the one instance, this is so weird. Except for the one instance in which a teenage Sultan Osman II in May of 1622 suffered an excruciating death by compression of the testicles at the hands of an assassin known as Pelivhan, the oil wrestler.
Oh.
So Turkey...
Slippery hands, huh?
Turkey's national sport is oil wrestling.
Okay.
I mean,
Is it still?
Yes. If you watch Anthony Bourdain, they have a giant oil wrestling tournament every year.
Yeah.
And one of the rules is you can grab them by the genitals.
Oh yeah, why
to
not?
gain leverage and but I read this interview where some guy's like, it's a lot harder to grab the genitals than you think. So it's not something
a bunch of slippery danglers.
But this guy was also an assassin, so it's like, you know, he
knows how to grab those danglers.
Well, he's also trying to kill him, so he's probably just. But
see, I just didn't know you could die from getting squeezed.
Exactly, which brings me to my next point, because
like a blood clot
I
or some
did
shit?
research into it.
Yeah.
In 2012, a 42-year-old shop owner in Henan, China, died after a woman squeezed his testicles too hard during a sidewalk altercation.
Whoa.
So he died during that. And then also, in 2014, a 17-year-old kid went into cardiac arrest when his friend squeezed his balls as a schoolyard prank.
Jesus.
So they believe
That's a good prank.
They believe that, at least for the 17-year-old kid, they said he was too young to go into cardiac arrest, but they think that he had maybe other health problems. And
he drank a lot of Red Bull?
It was just, I don't know, maybe, but it was just like a shock to his system where he went into cardiac arrest. And the 42-year-old man, I don't even know how that happened. I think they said that, you know, most people just faint, but you can...
Well, it's the closest thing he probably got into action and just...
What?
He just popped.
What are you talking about?
Lady was grabbing for his danglers.
Do you think that you die after you have sex? Like a praying mantis?
Do you not? I thought that was like the whole thing.
I am so angry right now. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep on moving. So
I'm sorry, I didn't know your sex involved ball strangling.
No, I'm just saying you're saying that he got his balls touched and died because he got so happy.
It's possible.
That's not possible.
He could have just, gone that long without any physical.
And I don't think he's that happy in a sidewalk altercation when this lady was probably. I mean, that's a cheap shot. You don't do that. Could be his thing. You don't do that. But at the same time, like, it's a sidewalk altercation. You gotta do what you gotta do. And so you can die from ball squeezing, apparently. Don't try it at home, kids. So now with the vast number of executions taking place, one would think that the Sultan would have the job of executioner assigned to a person as such. But that was not the case. The job of executioner was held instead by the Sultan's Bastanki Basha, or head gardener.
No, that's easier to say.
Which is a very weird dual job, or it's almost like the equivalent of being like, this was not. It's a perfect example of this was not in my job description. He's just like, I came here, but it actually kind of was at the time. So the Ottoman Corps of Gardeners, being they were a 5,000 strong bodyguard like group that, aside from cultivating the Sultan's paradise gardens, doubled as customs inspectors and police officers. These gardeners would do things like sew condemned women into weighted sacks and drop them into where they dropped them into. They dropped them into the Bosphorus River, as well as execute 280 women in Ibrahim the Mad's harem, which is a sex house. He killed 280 women in this guy's harem per his request, just so he could have the pleasure of picking out new successors. I mean, let's just say this. It's Salem the Grim and Ibrahim the Mad. They don't have great rulers. So these gardeners were much more than gardeners at this point.
Yeah.
Like I said, executions were extremely popular with the Sultan, and no one was safe, not even royal companions of the Sultan. But there was one way for a royal officer to escape the Sultan's wrath. And this is the thing that drew me to this story. I built the execution story all around this particular. I was wondering where you're going with it. This particular incident that they would use as part of an execution. Beginning in the late 18th century, it became the custom that a condemned grand vizier, which is like a higher up, would escape his fate by beating the head gardener in a race through the palace gardens.
Oh, yeah.
So the head gardener basically was the strongest and fastest and biggest guy out of all the gardeners, basically, because his job was to strangle the life out of these people. So you have to have like a big guy to do it. So he was really quick and agile, and most of the people, like the viziers, because only if you're a higher up would you get the chance to race for your life, and by that time you're probably an older guy. Yeah. So and this guy's probably younger and stronger and faster. So
Yeah, you got to be like a real beast.
yeah, so the official, this is crazy. This is another funny thing. The official would be summoned to a meeting with the head gardener, and after exchanging greetings, the visor would be handed a cup of iced sherbet.
Like the ice cream?
Yeah, like sherbet.
Okay.
If it was white, the Sultan had granted him a reprieve. If it was red, he was to be executed.
Oh, shit, I got cherry again.
You never want to see the red sherbet. That's why to this day I don't eat red sherbet.
Yeah, makes sense. What's the white sherbet? Coconut?
What did they have back then?
Because it's not going to be vanilla, right? Because sherbet's typically
it's iced fruit.
It's usually a fruit, not vanilla's a flower.
Well, what was the red
I don't know.
sherbet? Cherries, you think?
Cherry, strawberry,
Do they have-
pomegranate.
I mean, I don't know. This is probably Turkey. Is there what fruits grow in Turkey?
It could be dragon fruit.
It could be. It could be like it could be a fruit that we don't even have anymore.
That's true.
But I'm still just impressed that they're making sherbet.
Yeah, I'm still that caught me off guard. That made me wonder. Wait, what year is this again?
I just think it's so funny that like there's a chef back there just like making a bucket of red sherbet, and he's like making the death sherbet. It's the death sherbet.
Yeah, I can see like 6 people doing like the telephone, like running through, like a little kid running through. It's red this time, and there's like some old guy. Like, ooh, and
he got the golden ticket. He got the red sherbet.
He walks to the crowd. He tells this other guy, "It's the red one," and it just keeps going. And then the chef's just eagerly waiting with both of them ready.
Well, now you have to make the sherbet really, really good, right? Because it's the last thing this guy's ever going to eat.
You put a lot more effort into the red sherbet than you do in the white.
Well, here's the thing.
It's basically a last meal.
Are they allowed to eat the sherbet?
What if the sherbet?
Do you even want to eat the sherbet?
What if the sherbet is the same as the white one? It just has straight up blood mixed in from the last guy. Fuck.
Then you don't want to eat the sherbet.
You might
But
not.
as soon as
I'm sorry, but what an awful thing to threaten someone's life with. Sherbet.
Yeah, it's
even if you don't even know what sherbet is, the name alone is just like, fuck.
Maybe
Okay.
sherbet in Turkish sounds more menacing than sherbet in English. But as soon as the person would see the red sherbet, the visor would start sprinting immediately.
Yeah.
Because he knew the race was on.
So they wouldn't even taste
The
it. Maybe it's the best
heat is
thing.
on. No, I think you'd probably drop it. Yeah. I'd throw it at the guy who handed it to me just to like buy myself 3 more
diversion.
seconds.
Yeah.
So the visor or the higher up guy.
I would take it with me.
You're like running and eating
A little sugar high.
and throwing up.
Hey, like sugar back then is like a Red Bull now.
If it was blood, then you're fucked. But the visor would sprint through the palace gardens, darting between shady cypress trees and rows of tulips, presumably watched by hidden eyes behind grated harem windows. Or is it harem? I don't know. It's the whorehouses, basically.
Yeah,
so people would probably be watching, because I would definitely be watching that. I'll tell you that much. That's
It ain't my sherbet.
That's pay-per-view material right there.
Yeah.
So the goal was to get to the fish market gate on the other side of the palace. If the visor reached the gate before the head gardener, he would merely be exiled instead of executed.
Okay.
They would put him on like an island, or they would just make him get the hell out of like the Ottoman Empire, any place over there. But the head gardener was younger and stronger, and would usually be waiting with his silk cord. So I think higher ups they use the silk cord, but I always pictured like to strangle somebody.
Yeah. Okay.
So but I always kind of pictured them just like using their hands, because it takes a little bit out of it if you're using a.
I don't know. I feel like I'm a man. If I was going to strangle someone, I'd do it with my own hands on a cord. I'm not a coward.
But you also get more leverage with the silk cord,
Yeah,
and
but,
it shows higher. It's like it's a little bit higher echelon where it's like it's less barbaric, maybe.
I don't know. It's someone's life. I want to give them the dignity of being like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna use my own hands, not this little silky cord.
Yeah, but like it's weird, because at that point you're just like, man, okay, well we don't want to cut off their heads. Okay, we'll strangle them because there's no bloodshed. It's like, but
Shit, cut my head off. Don't
it's kind
strangle
of
me.
intimate, because then if you're strangling them, you have to face the front, right?
Yeah.
So with the cord, they can get it from behind.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can strangle anyone from any angle.
I mean, yeah, but it's a lot harder. I wouldn't know. I don't.
You don't know.
Let's stop that. Still, a few visors did make it, including Hassi Salih Pasha, the last visor to face a death race. He was the last one to face the death race, and he beat the gardener there.
And on a good note.
They probably killed the gardener after that. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah, probably.
And he was widely congratulated, and later became a provincial governor. So,
Okay.
but I'll end with this last little bit right here. Ali Pasha was an Ottoman Albanian ruler. So he basically controlled Albania, but it was a part of the Ottoman Empire in overarching.
Okay.
So he was a ruler who decided he wanted absolute power and to be an independent ruler and went against the Ottoman central government. So he just wanted to control Albania. He didn't want the Ottoman Empire there anymore. And the Ottoman Empire was like, fuck that. That's not flying.
Yeah.
So obviously this ruffled some feathers. So the government sent an army against him. And after 2 years of fighting, Pasha had lost most of his fortifications, so he decided to open negotiations with the government, which is something that's really, like, it's shitty because you're on the downside now, and now all of a sudden you're like, okay, I want to open negotiations.
Yeah.
Like, do you think this is going to go well?
Yeah.
Like, so when he showed up at Monastery of Saint Panteleimon with the promise of a full pardon, he then realized it was a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. So now high-ranking officials of the Sultan were known to face execution with quiet grace because they prided themselves on their obedience, which is like apparently when most of these guys were said to get strangled, they walked up and they got the red sherbet, and then they would, I'm not even kidding, they said they would get down like on their knees and be like, you may have my head or something like that.
Yeah.
They would just like accept it.
They wouldn't even try to run.
Most of them were old anyway, so I think most of them were
I
just
guess
like,
that makes sense.
just like strangle me or whatever.
Yeah.
So they did it with like grace and stuff like that. But Pasha did not like that. Well, he wasn't like that because apparently, like, obviously, I think he thought he was going to get a full pardon, and then they kind of caught him off guard. So when Pasha was asked to surrender for beheading, he famously proclaimed, "My head will not be surrendered like the head of a slave," and kept fighting till the end at the age of 82.
Fuck yeah.
But this is where it's weird. I don't get this. They weren't able to strangle him because he was fighting so much, but he was shot. But the problem was, it kept saying on numerous articles I read and numerous like historian websites, it said he was shot through the floor of his home.
Yeah.
I don't know. Were they crawling underneath his house?
I would say there's an assassin just waiting for him with a gun. Found a little hole, maybe like a little knot in his floorboard, and had the gun
Well,
right
two
there.
things would happen. I think that maybe he locked himself in a house, so they crawled underneath and shot like in the crawl space, or he just was on a second story and they just started firing through the floor, and
those are both
and
pretty
hit
acceptable.
him.
Yeah.
So he got shot, and basically they cut off his head and sent it to the Sultan on a literal silver platter.
Hell yeah.
But to this day, you can still go to Albania, and you can go to the house, and the bullet holes are still in the floor.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so if you guys are ever in Albania, you want to see where
You should get some red sherbet.
Ali Pasha, go get some red sherbet.
I wonder if the sales are really bad. I wonder if it's like white cherry sherbet.
I mean, the white cherry is probably the white one, and the red cherry is the red one. Right?
I'm sorry, what?
Do they only have cherries in Turkey?
What are you talking about?
You just said you were just talking about white cherry sherbet. What the fuck are you...
Yeah. I bet the sales of red sherbet are awful. So, like, I bet they have, like, white strawberry.
Sorry, I
White cherry.
Well, you said white cherry, so I thought you were talking about... Remember, you were asking, you're like, what is the white made out of?
Yeah.
Maybe that's white cherry, and the red one is red cherry, and the guy's like, I don't
They're just
like
all
cherry
cherry?
at all. I don't like...
allergic to cherries.
He doesn't... He's like, well, you fucking getting cherry, you know?
Yeah.
Do you think that one guy got the red sherbet and was like, I don't like the red. You could still kill me, but can I have the white sherbet?
Yeah. Can I just try both, please? My dying wish. Can I just get a scoop of both, please?
I've been dying to know what they taste like. So.
What if they just got a bowl with like a scoop of each? Just
You're
to,
like,
just,
"I'm very
just to fuck with the guy. He's like, well, which one is it? And he's like laughing. He like pulls the white one out and eats it. He's like, oh.
It's pink sherbet. And he's like, we mixed them together. 'Cause
You're not necessarily going to die, but you're not going to like what's happening there.
You're allowed to race, but we are going to kneecap you before. So, that was the Ottoman Empire. I mean, they obviously have way more of a history. I mean, they ruled for so long.
Yeah, that was a long empire.
So they have way more stories of weird executions, but this is so interesting. Just like, I mean, it's kind of like the ultimate, if you were going to get executed and someone's like, you're going to die, like, this is basically trial by combat, except it's trial by race through the garden.
I would sign up for him.
with a cup of sherbet in your hand.
I'm fast as fuck.
You're not as fast as the gardener.
I am.
No.
I guarantee you.
Not only is the gardener sleeping with your wife, but he's also going to strangle you. So
and beat you in a foot race.
and he's younger and stronger than you. So I mean, moral of the story: don't try to be
a person in the Ottoman Empire.
I guess so. Yeah, like that's the thing where it's like, even if you were like a lower class citizen or like a higher class citizen who was friends with the Sultan, like he was kill happy. He was just like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, you're dead.
But would you rather get decapitated or strangled? That's the real question.
I would definitely decapitate.
Really?
A lot faster.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like that would hurt more. Like strangulation, maybe you just like pass out.
You want to fade into death?
I mean,
not just a.
They say your head is life like 13.
Yeah, but if you're not attached to your body, you can't really feel that much pain. It might sting around the neck.
I don't know. It's just grosser. Like
I think
you have more
way cooler.
But you have more dignity if you get strangled than if you're like you know, your head's on the floor and then somebody picks you up and they're like, "Oh, here's your head." I don't know. That's kind of degrading.
Instead of like a poor limp body laying on the ground, all weird.
Yes. Yeah.
Nah.
Oh, I like how you just tried to like make my side worse. No, it is clearly worse to be like headless and
chop my head off and send it to Mars.
Some guy's walking around with your head, grabbing you by the hair, and the other guy's just like, you're just dead. You're on the floor dead. So.
People remember that severed head better than they will remember that pathetic little crumpled body on the ground.
I don't know. I can't argue with you on this. This is like, I feel like you're not going to change. You know, fine. When the Ottomans come to take America, I'll tell them that you want your head cut off, and I'll just...
I'll let him know. Strangle him as slow as you can.
I got a fucking silk cord. You have a sharp blade, okay? Remember that. Remember that when you're watching the blade come down.
I mean, if you want to fight, I'll take a sharp blade and you can take a silk cord and we'll see who wins.
Well, this is not a fight. I'll race you, though. I'll fucking race you.
All right, we can race.
I'll race you.
Okay.
I have a shorter stride, but I am very agile, and I could turn a corner of a bazaar quicker than you could say "Shnupa."
Yeah.
That was Turkish
for
red sherbet.
For I don't know Turkish.
It sounded more like an alien language, but
I'll put money on that race.
Yeah, so I'll put my fucking life on it.
I wouldn't let you do that because I don't want you to die. All right, so let's move on to my story.
You're not going to beat me in a race. I have the last word. Okay, you can tell your story now.
I would annihilate
Just shut up.
It wouldn't even be fucking close.
Yeah, right, dude.
All right.
You have bad knees.
I have bad knees, bad hips, and bad ankles, and I would still roast your ass.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
We'll settle this one day.
Okay.
But we have to go to Turkey first. We have to how cool would it be to recreate that race?
They're like, no running in the gardens, please.
I know, right?
All right. We're moving on. Let's talk about war, okay? We're going to do a little war talk.
It's the only thing
here.
I really know.
Yeah. So, you know about World War II, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's a little... We're not talking so much about the war itself. It's more like a little side project of the war. But, you know...
Oh, I think World War II is a side project of the war. I'm like, no, that was the war.
No,
what
are
you talking about?
What we're talking about is... But it's common knowledge, but like what World War II was. Don't feel like I need to go too far into, you know, German Nazi...
Yeah.
Or
we all
Nazi
know.
Germany.
We know the guy's name.
Yeah. All that stuff. But like all wars, this one had its very dark secrets. Because sometimes to win wars, you have to get your hands real dirty.
Yes.
Like real fucking dirty.
We all know about the bomb.
Yes, this is honestly maybe... I'm not going to say anything's worse than something else because it's all terrible.
It's all pretty bad.
Yeah. But I also would like to correct that the side that did this didn't necessarily win the war, but it's okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about none other than the Japanese Unit 731.
Yes, no, I don't. No.
You don't know about this one?
No.
For once in this entire podcast history, Tobin doesn't have to pretend like he doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, that's not every single time. I just know a lot of weird shit because I liked it before I started this podcast, so I do a lot of research.
You're going to be really surprised by this one because it's a really, honestly, it kind of sucks, but it's a really, really crazy thing that I'm not going to be able to go into every detail about because it would be like...
It would give you nightmares.
Well, that too. It's something I wouldn't want to talk about for that long, but it could honestly, like, you could probably talk about this this unit 731 for like 8 hours.
I
if you
wonder
really
if
want to.
I wonder if they have any like good documentaries on them.
Oh,
I
there
don't know
has
what
to
they
be.
did yet,
There
but
has
I'm
to be.
just
Oh, God.
assuming. So
You just buckle down.
let me hear.
So Unit 731 was in charge of a covert biological and chemical warfare research and a developmental unit of the Imperial Japanese Army that really took lethal human experimentations to a new world.
Oh no!
Like it's bad.
It's when I hear experimentations, I mean, I just think of like, and especially like Japan and stuff. I'm thinking of like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to get into. I'll let you bring it up.
Yeah. So there is a mixture of Japanese and Chinese in this, and so I'm probably going to butcher a lot of it. I know I probably say every time.
You
I'm gonna
always
butcher
say
it,
that,
but
call
it's
you
true.
David the Butcher.
Because I don't know any Chinese or Japanese, and yeah. So this unit was located in the Pingfang district of Harbin, which is now northeast China.
Okay.
And the unit had an official name of the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department of Kwantung Army.
So they were supposed to make sure that all the water for the Chinese government or just the citizens was clear, was not contaminated.
No.
Oh.
That's what they wanted you to think was going on, but that is very far from what was actually
they
happening.
give you the old the cute or the boring name, so you don't
Yes.
even look into it. You know.
Yeah, the only thing is maybe epidemic prevention, but
But it sounds like they're trying to help instead of harm.
I mean, you could boil down. We'll get into what they did, but you could technically boil down what they did to like be like, oh yeah, we're trying to help, but
Okay.
So this unit was under control of General Shiro Ishii, who was a combat medic officer in the Kwantung Army, and was also a huge piece of shit.
They're like,
Side note.
what's his name again?
His name is Shiro Ishii.
They're like, Mr. Shiro Ishii. He's like, it's doctor. I didn't go to school for 7 years. And like, you are a piece of shit.
Yeah.
That was the qualification that made him a piece of shit, where he demanded to be called doctor.
Yeah. So what was the point of this covert group? Well, they were in charge of figuring out how bad the chemical weapons they used or made would affect the human body in different series of tests that would involve temperatures, genders, races, and all ages.
Ooh. Okay. Wow. That's the last one hurts the most.
Yeah, that's why I typed that one up last. It was also researched on how to possibly like treat these said illnesses. But a lot of these tests were just kind of like Hail Marys of this like, oh, let's see what happens if we do this. Like
Okay.
kind of bullshit that's just like, why? Like you didn't need to test that.
It's like you kind of already knew what
like,
was
no
going
shit.
to happen.
Yeah.
Like you knew death was going to be the outcome or a horrible maiming, but you're just like,
Yes.
well, we need to know how much of it to use to really kill you and make sure like it's like fucked up shit like that. where
They're
it's,
like, oh, he's
you know,
got a common cold. Let's see what happens if we put his hand into a blender.
Do they do that?
They don't do that, but they get pretty goddamn close.
Okay, let me hear.
Okay. A question is, who are they testing on? Because they're doing terrible things. It's not like people are signing up for this shit.
I already
right?
know.
Who?
Criminals.
You
But
wish.
that you also said gender, sex. I mean, that's the same thing. Gender, age, race, and what was the last one?
All ages.
All ages. Yeah. So I mean, I said age, but yeah, I don't know.
sorry.
So basically, war criminals because it's during war, so they could get some white guys in there. They could use some criminals. They need Asian people.
They had some prisoners of war, but the main test subjects they would have were people that they gathered from surrounding camps and like villages.
Oh my god! So they're just like taking their own people and being like, okay, you. Like
Yeah.
they're not even taking people who I don't want to say people who deserve it.
This
but-
was the Japanese, and they were in China.
Oh, okay.
But it was also kind of a thing like they weren't. I don't think they wanted to be like considered enemies.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a thing of war. Like it wasn't supposed to be like taking the enemy.
Yeah.
So one of the worst parts of this story, to me at least, is that they would refer to the test subjects as logs.
like a tree?
Yes, like a tree.
Ugh.
And a joke that the staff would crack all the time.
A lot of jokes going on there.
Yes.
Lot of jokes.
Yeah. One of the jokes they would say would be, "How many logs fell today?"
That's fucked.
Referring to how many of the test subjects died. And to make it worse, the camp was hidden in plain sight and was told to officials that it was a lumber mill.
Oh, they're having way too much fun with
Yeah.
the names, and they're like, oh, aren't we so secretive and clever and
Yeah.
fucked up?
And the original name of the study, the camp, was, this one is not Japanese or Chinese. This would be a German word, which was Holzklotz, which is German for log.
Oh, okay. So they're just really going for the log thing right now.
So part of this camp study were largely done by vivisection, which we have discussed vivisection before.
Yeah, we have. Is that when you're cut in half?
So vivisection, the definition is surgery conducted for experimental purposes on a living organism.
Oh, that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not, you can vivisect anything that's living, like a mouse, a dog, a human.
But it has to be alive.
Yeah, it's a living subject.
Gross.
Yes, and like many war camps, these vivisections were done typically with or without any form of anesthesia.
Yeah, they're not going to waste that on you.
Yeah, and it would almost always end in the death of the test subject.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, at this station, they did not have any sympathy for the innocent or the young, killing men, women, children, and even infants.
That's fucking awful. I mean, yeah, it's easy when it's not like your own people and you're building like a caricature of who they are, and you're not, it's bad, but still, war is hell,
Yeah,
that's so bad. That is so fucking bad.
yeah.
That's on par with what's his name, the World War II doctor, who would Mengele, who would take twins and stuff like that. Joseph Mengele.
I don't know this one.
Oh, he was I think he worked mainly at Auschwitz, and he would find twins. He'd find people with blue eyes, or he'd find weird things about people and then do experiments on them and stuff like that. It's really fucked up shit.
Oh, he would have been at home with this place.
Yeah, vivisect and do all that kind of stuff.
So with their test subjects, they would infect them with any form of chemical warfare like weapons, and then they would cut them open to see the effects on different body parts.
Oh.
The prisoners would have their limbs amputated just to watch blood loss. No. So they basically cut someone's arm off and just be like, let's watch them bleed out and die.
Oh.
And sometimes they would be like, hey, let's cut off, both arms, both legs, and then reattach them, but on the wrong side of the body.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No. So they'd be like, cut both your arms off and then put your left arm on the right and your right arm on the left.
That's not even going to work. I mean, it's not even going to work if you get if you cut off someone's right arm and then try to attach it back. The tendons are they need to.
Yeah.
You need to.
It's not easy to do the right way.
Each one and what the fuck?
Yeah.
It seems like they got too much government funding and they didn't know what to do with it, and they're like, oh, well, let's that
I mean, they were just taking people at will and just mutilating them.
That doesn't even make sense.
That's what I was saying. It was a complete Hail Mary of just medical science nonsense.
Jesus.
So some subjects would have their stomachs surgically removed and then have their esophagus reattached straight to their intestines just to see what happened.
Oh my god.
Which, has nothing to do with warfare. It's not like they're like, oh, damn, our stomachs are getting taken out again. We need to see what happens when that happens. Yeah.
It almost seems like they're just trying to do this for, torture techniques at this point.
It's just go for it, assholes. That makes sense.
God damn it.
But the vivisection was just a part of their very large testing facility. They had a lot more going on.
Oh, God.
So the next thing they worked on was, germ warfare.
Okay.
The prisoners were taken and injected with various diseases, but they were always told that they were getting vaccinations.
Oh, that's even worse because you're just like, oh no, it's fine.
Just some good old malpractice in the name of science. Isn't that fun?
So it's hard to get them to get a needle into their arm if you're trying to run away and fight. You can't,
Yeah. And some prisoners, male and female, would be given infections like syphilis and gonorrhea, and they were studied because sadly, it was a very common thing for the soldiers to contract STIs while raping people in war. And it became a thing.
Damn, man, you're going heavy on this episode.
But this is, I told you, this is really fucked up.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
You know, this is something that happened, which is the worst thing about it.
Yeah.
So this one is wild to me.
Just on the record, I'd probably rather get gonorrhea than like any like.
Oh, syphilis rots your brain.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
like, isn't gonorrhea like treatable or like I don't know. It's not as bad as it sounds, and like I mean they're probably injecting other people with like yellow fever and like smallpox and stuff like that. So yes. I mean,
but it's fucked up that the main purpose of their research was because their soldiers, like so many of their soldiers, were getting gonorrhea from like raping the same people basically, and and it wasn't, you know. I'm not going to say it was like their soldiers, but like just soldiers in general. Like that was a common thing.
Yeah.
People don't talk about it, but that happened and could technically still be happening now. Like,
I mean, technically now they have war crimes and stuff like that. Where like sometime back then they didn't. I mean, some of them probably don't get reported anyway. But yeah, there's stuff in place where you can't do certain things, kill civilians, like,
but it still
rape
happens.
People. I've seen some of those Vietnam movies and it's bad.
So this one was really wild to me. I mean, they're all really crazy, but so it was reported that the Unit 731 was also responsible for creating weapons such as the plague of fleas.
Okay, that sounds terrifying.
Yes. So they had fleas that they injected the plague into, and then
Black Plague?
Yeah.
That's how they originally got over here, on the rats on the boat.
Yep. And they would so the idea was like you just like throw these fleas and they just wipe out villages.
Oh, man.
And it's believed that while testing the fleas, it was responsible for the deaths of thousands of people in the testings because they would fly over really low and just drop like canisters.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be an explosion. It's like I think they referred to it as a bomb.
Dirty bomb.
Yeah, but there would be no actual explosion. It would just be like basically like a canister full of fleas that had the plague, and it was responsible for killing thousands of people.
That's honestly like more terrifying. I was picturing them flying over, and it's like started raining fleas down or something like that, which is more terrifying than the canister.
Probably harder to do.
Yeah, if a gust of wind picks up and blows them back into the ship, you're fucked. I mean, back into the airplane.
Hopefully.
So, but yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. Like, that's just, like, cruel. It's like the whole smallpox blankets things that we did to the Native Americans. You know? It's like, damn. That's not cool.
Yep.
Very not cool.
So
that's an understatement, I think.
Yeah, it's, like, real lame.
That's super not cool, guys.
Yeah, super not cool. Man. That's not cool. So many parts of World War II were fought in places of extreme cold and harsh weather conditions. And so the unit decided, hey, let's do tests on frostbite.
Oh, no.
Which, you know, not given their track record, that's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Your soldiers are probably going to get frostbite. Like, let's think of good ways of solving it. But they didn't. So this was ran by a guy named Yoshimura Hisatao. And he conducted some crazy-ass frostbite experiments. He would take the prisoners outside, and he would take them to a lake or a body of water that was frozen over. He would dip different limbs. He would dip every limb. You know, he'd take people and like, you're going to be like the left arm, you're going to be the right arm, you're just going to be a hand, you're going to be a foot, you're going to be the whole leg, you're going to be like that kind of, like, they tested every part of the body. And, but like, what would they do with the frozen parts? I'm going to do a quick quote from exactly what he did.
I don't want to hear him.
Frozen arms, when struck with a short stick, emitted a sound resembling that which a board gives when it is struck.
Are you fucking kidding me? So they're freezing these people's arms and then just smacking them with a stick?
They were doing any form of like abuse, basically. So like, I'm pretty sure they would shoot them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they would like throw grenades at them and shit. Like they would do anything that they could possibly encounter in war while they were frozen. And yeah.
Wow.
And they'd even do it to babies and stuff. Yep. And the list keeps going.
Yeah, I bet they didn't stop there.
Yeah.
Why would they?
Female prisoners would be raped until impregnated to see what would happen with the other tests, like with a mother. So it's like they would basically, everything I've said they would do with prisoners that they would have impregnated. So it'd be like they would give the lady syphilis and then be like, is the baby born with syphilis? Give the lady the plague and be like, is the baby born with the plague? Like that kind of stuff.
You make this so hard to make this a funny podcast right now.
No, there's no humor in this at all.
This is hard.
But this is like something that, like I said earlier, this is something that happened that people don't know about, and it's pure insanity.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And so the chemical and scientific experiments would not be the only types of tests. They would also test, already well-known weapons of war, like grenades and bombs. And the way that they would like to test explosives was they would tie people to basically like poles.
Yeah.
And they would have them stuck every couple of feet and then throw a grenade and be like, at what point does the grenade hit people, kind of thing. So you got like 5 people every 5 feet, and it's like, oh yeah, number 3 didn't really get hit with the grenade too bad. Like only lost like a leg or something.
God damn it.
And they would do it with bombs too, with like larger, like
so
longer
there'd just
things.
it would be like a distance thing where they have like a guy who's really close, a guy who's like halfway there.
Yeah, they want to see how far the damage is
put
done.
me as close as you can to the grenade, please.
Yeah, or as far. Yeah,
but I mean, you're still probably gonna hit with some shrapnel.
Yeah.
Can I want to mention this because since this reminds me of there's a gentleman, I won't say his name, but I used to work with him when I worked at a grocery store in Southern California, and he was an older gentleman, and he was in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And he told me that one thing that they would do, and that what he saw, he was a POW.
Yeah.
And he's like, one thing I saw is that they would take these women, each POW got like their own like caretaker or servant or something like that, because they didn't want the POWs to die. They wanted to use them as leverage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They would emaciate them but not like kill them. And apparently he said that if there was like any of them who were like, going against the Vietnamese army or something, and like, trying to help out the POW more than they should, they would kill them. But the way they would kill them is they would take the palm trees and they would bend them down toward, he told me this.
I can kind of see where you're going with this.
They would bend them down and then they would tie their arms and legs to each palm tree. So like right leg, right arm to one palm tree, and then the other to the other. And then they would cut the palm trees loose, so it would like rip the person in half when it would go up. And I was like, oh my God, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And then he told me like he ate the soles of his shoes because that was like food. He made like tea out of them and stuff like that. And then I was like, I won't say his name, but I was like, can I like interview you? This is like
stuff that needs to be known.
Yeah. And then he's like, no, I don't like to think about it. I don't like to talk about it. I won't ever talk about it. And I was like, oh, I totally understand that.
I only knew one person that was in Vietnam, and he suffered from I believe he suffered from like chemical exposure from
Agent Orange.
And I'm pretty sure he lost some kids from that. Like they died in childbirth, and then the kids who were born had severe disabilities.
It fucks up your like reproductive. It fucks up like your offspring more than anything. Like it obviously it fucks you up, but like that's the main thing it's like known for, is like having offspring with like oversized heads, bulging eyes. Their spine wasn't formed. It's like stuff like that. It was awful.
All right, I'm almost done here, so let me wrap this one up.
I'm exhausted right now.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So these stories keep going, and like I said earlier, like we could seriously talk about this shit forever because they did some really bad stuff that I didn't even talk about.
I can see why they kind of haven't made a documentary about this.
There were way worse things that I didn't talk about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And, I guess go do your own independent research, but we're trying to keep it really sad, but not that sad.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So the most fucked up part of the story to me, you want to hear this?
Oh, we haven't even peaked yet?
To me, this is the worst part.
Okay.
At the end of all these tests and at the end of the war, the truth came out, and like people realized what they were doing there. And what do you think happened to the guys that conducted all these tests? Like the people in charge?
I'm gonna go ahead and say they got away without any repercussions, or they became even higher than they were, and they started running the government or something like that.
Yeah, so the United States would grant them all immunity for exchanging the data of the tests. And they went on to live their lives. I think one of them became like a professor.
God fucking damn it.
Yeah.
I like how we always end up being pieces of shit along with these people. It's like, God damn it, are you serious?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you just pull a Turkish what do you call it? A Turkish double cross, tell them that they got immunity, get them to the place,
race through a garden full of nettles.
No, remember the guy they got to and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's have a conversation." And they're like, "No, we're gonna kill you." And he's like, "No!" That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Give us the information." I mean, do we even need that information? Like, we know. I mean, maybe back then. I don't know, man. That's fucked up.
I mean, as awful of things that they did, I'm sure they had some legitimate, like, you know, researched into what these chemicals did to bodies. Like, as awful as it is,
I mean,
it's still information about these things, and it honestly, some of it could have led to the whole like, what's the name of the ban we have at war for like no chemical warfare? Like, there's a name for it.
I can't think of it.
Yeah, but you know, who knows?
Yeah, I mean the Geneva Convention. It's like what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do in war and stuff. But what I was gonna say is that also, I mean, we're really not the ones to. This makes it sound like I'm defending those people, but at the same time, like. We did really, really fucked up things during the war too, especially to the Japanese. I'm
not trying to say that we didn't.
No. I'm just saying that we dropped like an atomic bomb, you know. So
Two.
Yeah, exactly. So Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and like at that point, I think we obviously won, but we're not showing up and being like, you guys, you know, we really have to punish you now. Like it's really hard to be that hypocritical, and then but at the same time, I still think all those guys should have died the way that they killed all those people. Yeah, slowly, you know.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's my insane fucking story.
Wowie kazowie, and that's bad.
Also, they're not entirely sure how many people did die because they would incinerate the bodies afterwards, and I don't think they took too much note into like how many people there were, but it was over like 1,000 or so.
I mean, all you'd have to do is look at how many test subjects they had. They wrote down all of the experiments.
I think they would like basically just like give lots of people the same tests and then only like take notes of like interesting things. Like there were people that would just
So let's end on a depressing note like this. Yeah. I mean,
buy our t-shirts, buy our coffee mug. We got stickers.
We're definitely not using other people's anguish to entertain, but Jesus fuck.
No, I that's it for me. That's honestly like when I first heard of it, I was like, how the fuck is this not more common knowledge? Because it's so insane.
Well, people don't like to talk about that kind of stuff, but like at the end of the day, you kind of have to bring it up, and you got to be like, this is what happened. You're not going to sugarcoat it. Like, every country has done really, really bad things.
Oh, for sure.
I think at the end of the day, if you're just not the people doing those bad things and you oppose those people who do those things, like you're stepping in the right direction.
Yeah,
so
fuck those guys.
We all just need to learn to get along and not experiment on each other and do horrible shit like drop atom bombs, you know? It's like
we all come from the same dirt in the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
We all go back into that dirt.
Yep. So, I mean, at the end of the day, love one another.
I'm going to kiss you on the mouth right now.
No, kiss Gary.
Oh, yeah. I think we haven't really said hey to Gary.
What's up, Gary? He's sad now. He doesn't want to talk to us. Yeah. But I guess we'll wrap it up there by saying thank you guys for listening. We always enjoy you guys as viewers and listeners. Not viewers, listeners. And go to campstrange.com for all the hyperlinks. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Check out Instagram to see all the pictures and stuff. We're not going to post pictures of maybe
some mug shots of some people.
I don't want to see those pictures. Yeah. But on Instagram, that's our most active one. So go follow us on Instagram. We post on there.
We can just post puppy pictures.
Yeah, puppy pics.
I'll send you some Kuma pics.
So and please rate, review, and subscribe. We love to get out there for more people to listen to because people like weird shit and we like telling you about it. So not this specific weird shit. We don't love it. But but yeah, so check us out on all those. blah blah blah. I don't even know what else to say anymore. I'm flustered.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys. I guess to wrap this up, all I have to do is say, don't forget to stay strange.